Welcome to Radio 8-Ball, give us a shake. We're in your face, a tempting fate. Wherever you are, putting questions to the songs which we will randomly select here with the help of our friend Synchronicity. And now it's time for Radio 8-Ball, give us a shake. It's the Radio 8-Ball Show. Radio 8-Ball, such a simple format. Ask a question, pick a song at random, talk about the answer. Easy, right? Except it never is. I've organized hundreds of Radio 8-Ball shows, and pretty much everyone has taught me on some level the futility of making any plans at all about anything. Take this show, for example. It was probably the best organized Radio 8-Ball show we've ever done. We had the venue on lockdown for 2 days. We had a fantastic crew. I basically cast the audience. It was a little tough moving on after having to fire Andy Shmushkin, but he was cool about it, and I felt like we were moving forward in a positive direction. I mean, for crying out loud, our musical guest was Sandman, the Rappin' Cowboy, who is the easiest to work with singer-songwriter I've ever known. I've toured with him, I've recorded with him, I've known him for almost 2 decades, and I've never, ever had a problem with him. But right before this show, he comes up to me and he says, "Andras, I'm so sick, I don't know if I can talk, let alone sing." Which would really put a damper on a Radio 8-Ball show. Now, obviously, we worked it out, as you'll see, but that's where my head was at when we started this show. Now, where I'd like for your head to be at is for you to write down your question for the Pop Oracle. I know, the show's over, but the synchronicity never stops, and I can almost guarantee you that if you write down a question, sometime in the course of the show you're about to watch, you'll experience a very personal synchronicity that we could never have programmed, and it'll probably mean a lot to you. So now that you have your question written down, and I hope you do, let's turn our attention to September 23rd, 2015 at Obsidian in Olympia on the fall equinox, and this episode of Radio 8-Ball. Welcome to Radio 8-Ball. I am your host, Andras Jones, and this is the show where we answer questions by picking songs at random and interpreting those randomly chosen songs as the answers to the questions, like picking musical tarot cards. It's all based upon synchronicity, and every show features a musical guest, and this show is no exception. Our musical guest tonight is the fabulous Chris Sand, a.k.a. Sandman, the Rappin' Cowboy. Come on up, Sandman. Welcome. You just be teller. I'll be pen. How you doing, Sandman? Good? I love it. I love it. So every show features a musical guest who plays the songs which are the oracle fodder, which answer our musical divinations here. And every show also features a celebrity guest. And we've had some pretty amazing celebrity guests on the show over the years. We've had John C. Reilly and Seth Green and Patricia Arquette and Weird Al Yankovic. We've had Ray Don Chong and C. Thomas Howell. So you know when I say that I'm very excited about this next guest, it's got to be someone pretty special. I've been keeping it pretty close to the chest. Everyone's excited to know who it is. I'm sure you are too. Are you ready? Our celebrity guest on the show is going to be none other than Olympia's own David Ury. That wasn't the response I was expecting. Do you guys know who David Ury is? How can you not know David Ury? Oh my God, he's from Olympia. He moved down to LA. He's been in a ton of TV shows and movies. He was in Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen. He was in National Treasure with Nicolas Cage. He was in Malcolm in the Middle and Breaking Bad and Rizzoli and Isles and all kinds of crazy. You don't know David Ury? Well, we made a little film about him so we can introduce you to him. So turn your attention to the film here, and when you see him, you'll know who he is.
David Ury. He has a face you may think you've never seen until you see it, and then you realize that it's familiar. But how?
In the middle of very important work. I am on the verge here. So set your skank-ass pie hole and assist me.
He hovers on the periphery of the action, often dispatched with little thought, only to rise again in his next on-screen adventure. He is our hidden hero. In fact, Ury appears in the first episode of the TV show Heroes as Dr. Sharesh's landlord. They call him the Super. He surfaces again at the end of the third season of Heroes to assist the good doctor in regaining his powers. And only recently, he shows up as Dr. Death in the TV series
Dental records will also be problematic.
Our hidden hero engages his powers again for the children on the Nickelodeon series The Thundermans, about a family of superheroes, and The Haunted Hathaways, about a family of ghosts. Ury plays the green ghoul in the crossover episode Haunted Thundermans. This character is both a ghost and a supervillain who uses his powers to possess his enemies, rendering him invisible or hidden.
Get in the ghost cage.
Who's gonna make me? I'm the green ghoul!
And if that's not hidden well enough, what about Chosen? In this series, Ury is credited with appearing in an episode called Heroes and Villains, and yet, where is he? All we can find is Ury's Heroes castmate, Milo Ventimiglia. This is what an actor does. Disappear into the character, into the story.
Thing about this ice chipper, a lot of times once you get something in there, no turn it back.
Perhaps Ury's ultimate disappearing act is reflected in his relationship with the Japanese author Ken Tanaka, who, of course, is fascinated with superheroes. We have clearly only brushed the tip of David Ury's iceberg, but now that Radio 8Ball has unmasked him, you will begin to notice this hidden hero materializing in the corners of your favorite films and TV shows, only visible once you are aware of him. Some might call him a character actor, or worse, a bit player. But for our purposes, he is David Ury. A great fucking actor.
David Ury! Yes! So, I know some of you thought I was going to get Drew Barrymore. I might have let you think that, but next time. Well, now you've seen David Ury. We've met Chris Sand, and it's my turn to ask the first question of the show. The host always asks the first question, and my question, I've got a few different questions in mind, but the one that's most pressing and I think maybe most universal for this audience, about a year and a half ago, I wrote a book called Accidental Initiations that is about Olympia. You can get it at Last Word Books, which I encourage you to do. It's about Olympia and in part about my hopeful vision for this town and then some of the difficulties I've run into in trying to make that manifest. And you can read that if you're interested in those stories. But what it's mostly about is about Sylvester Park. The gazebo, which we know so well at the heart of Sylvester Park, is locked. And when I wrote my book, I said that I would judge the success of it or not based upon whether it was able to unlock the gazebo at the heart of Sylvester Park and ultimately at the heart of, I believe, Olympia. And for a while, when it came out, for about a month, it was unlocked, and I felt like I had succeeded. But then they locked it up again. And it's been locked pretty much, I don't know if you've been long-time Olympians, it's been locked pretty much since right after September 11th, so I hope you feel a lot safer. So my question is, what is it going to take to unlock the heart of Olympia? And to engage the Pop Oracle, I am now going to spin the Wheel of 8. Song number 4.
Radio works fine. The trucker on the road just spilled a heavy load, and his truck it almost rolled off the highway. Well, he's 55 years old, and his things have all been sold, and his fingertips are cold as an ice tray. Ah, but his radio better half, and on top of that, she kidnapped their daughter. Well, he never did learn math, he never found a path, and he'll probably never do what he oughter. Ah, but his radio works fine, so he ain't got no reason why. Well, farmer in the field didn't get no yield, so he can't afford Blue Shield for his grandma. So he grew some marijuana in his farthest field, and it was well concealed till his little brother squealed, and the income was revealed. And of course he appealed, but the judge said no deal. Sent him to Mobile, Alabama. Hard times in the country. Ah, but his radio works fine, so he ain't got no troubles on his mind. He ain't got no reason why. Oh, man. My radio works fine, boys. Helps me pass the time, girls from Arkansas to Illinois and all kinds of weather. My tape deck makes fine noises. Fast forwards and rewinds, girls. I think Charlie Pride and the Beastie Boys should come together. Desegregate the airwaves. This my radio works fine, so I ain't got no troubles on my mind. I ain't got no reason why. I ain't got no troubles on my mind. I ain't got no reason why. No, ma'am. His radio works fine.
So that was Radio Works Fine. The answer to my question, what's it going to take to unlock the heart of Olympia? Sandman, you want to give us a little bit of background on that song?
Well, the radio just basically symbolizes our attitudes. If you got a good attitude, then you're going to succeed.
Yeah. So in terms of unlocking the heart of Olympia,
Yeah.
you'll find when you when you ask a question, if you do get a chance to ask a question up here, that you may try and couch the real question in sort of a more universal question, and the answer will be very literally right back to the personal thing you were trying to hide in there a little bit. This show, Radio 8-Ball, has radio in the name because it started on the radio. It started on the radio at Chaos in Olympia. And it could have ended there too. There was some bad stuff that went down for me there. I don't want to all get into it. You can read about it in my book, Accidental Initiations, if you like. But it did make me think about how the radio, the arts, the institutions that support the arts and support our voices, they have to reflect the heart of the community, and when they don't, that creates a bit of a lock. And so, for me, I don't know if it gave me the particular answer of what I need to do. I suppose if I was going to take it supremely personally, which is the way I would ask any of you to do it, being totally harsh with myself, would be to rather than waiting for those organizations to align and become more heart-centered, is for me to probably expand my heart to the point where it could accept the things that I find that maybe my ego finds unacceptable. attitude. You speak very few words, Sandman, but eventually it comes back to you being right. You're a genius.
Welcome to Sync Central. I'm Bodie Doggins. It's interesting that Andras should open with a focus on the gazebo as a symbol of the heart of Olympia, but also of his show. This iconic symbol evokes 20th century small town life and the rituals that animated it. Weddings, concerts, protests, celebrations, the American bandstand, if you will.
It's a gazebo.
It's a what?
A gazebo.
Oh, what does it do?
What does a gazebo do? Don't underestimate it. It can encourage romance.
Oh, Elliot!
And a gazebo can even provoke murder.
Something pretty kooky happened around here last night.
What do you mean, kooky?
The gazebo in Olympia's Sylvester Park was once a maypole, with all the pagan significance this implies. A fitting place to begin a show like Radio8Ball that marries elements of Americana and esoterica in a game anyone can play. It's worth noting that on the day we are releasing this video, our musical guest Sandman is starting a Kickstarter campaign to fund his next recording ventures. We encourage you to check it out and to support it. And speaking of support, let's take a moment to acknowledge our sponsors. This production of Radio8Ball would not be possible without the generous support of these local Olympia sponsors: Little General Food Shop, Last Word Books and Press, Only Bungalows, Salon Refuge, Hot Toddy, Druid's Nook, Gravity Beer Market, Three Magnets Brewing Company, Oliphant Art Supply, the Washington Center for the Performing Arts, Harlequin Productions, Capital Florist, West Central Park Project, Olympia Federal Savings, Pizza Rocks, Symbiotic Cycles, Wisp Adornments, Fertile Ground Guest House, Sylvie Sovina, and the Brotherhood Tavern. Radio8Ball encourages you to support these local Olympia businesses.